They're calling it the saddest and scammiest attempt at making a esports tournament of all time. Now, I've been around the block. I've seen so many community-made tournaments where people actually like try to do good with their community and try to, bring the community together while also giving people an opportunity to win prizes, win money, or win like whatever currency in the game that they use. But on my timeline today, I stumbled upon probably one of the saddest and just hilarious to look at attempt at making a tournament I think I've ever seen in my life. It's just one of the most hilariously scammy looking ones I think I've seen. So AI aside, it doesn't even look that bad. It's like, oh, a girls only Valorant tournament. Women aren't the most represented demographic in esports. Women don't have the easiest path to take when it comes to getting into esports. Other than just the concept of a girls only Valorant tournament, everything else is just catastrophically bad. Everything else about it is just not good in any way. So first off, as we can see, once again, AI. We have an AI generated Valorant tournament. The AI generated everyone's favorite characters from Valorant, which I haven't played in a while, so I think I'm gonna try to guess these characters. I know we have Sage, Jet, and Reyna. I think this is Clove, and I think this one's like Fate or some shit like that. I don't really remember. And also it's kind of hard to tell because they're AI generated. I think I last played Valorant. She was in the tournament. Or not in the tournament, in the game, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, look at this, completely AI generated, absolutely just insane. And obviously a lot of people are making fun of it. Someone already, the top comments calling it a scam because this account was made a few days ago on AI, but they show that their Discord existed for a while. It just even gets worse from here. Aside from the AI, let's see how they're handling who's allowed to play in the tournament. Surely they are inclusive to everybody, right? No. So we have people asking, can trans women who are, women play in the women only tournament? You're not going to believe it. Shockingly, no. And the justification for why they try to say that trans women aren't allowed to play in their tournament is just hilarious. So someone asked, hi, I was just wondering if trans women are allowed to participate. And then the one that I guess the moderators says, sorry, but no. Asks, may I know why? And then, can you explain more, please? Like, are you a man trans to woman or a woman trans to man? Sorry for the weird question. Male to female. It says, I'm sorry, cutie, but we don't. The reason is that we are Muslims and we think that it's not fair to let transgenders play in our tournament. Now, I need to know where in the Quran it says that you're not allowed to have transgender people in the esports tournament because it provides an unfair advantage to the trans people. One of the single most confusing things I've seen, one of the most single confusing justification, because it's not even like they try to do like the normal scummy thing to do, which is saying, oh, we're Muslims, we don't believe that, we don't believe in like people being transgender or stuff like that. They didn't even attempt to do that. They had probably one of the stupidest fucking LARPy justifications I think we've ever seen. Like, I don't even know what the idea behind this was. And this person right here does point out a really good point about this, is that Clove is on the poster and Clove is non-binary. And that is a hilarious contradiction to have, especially when you have this take right here. And another funny thing about this is that one of the first quote tweets I even saw about this poster was this one right here, where it says, you can't hide right religion to be transphobic. You make all of us Muslims look bad with this rhetoric. Don't even get me started on the AI, or will not get a grip. So the Muslim justification doesn't even work when you have this person right here just saying like, yeah, that's just not an argument that you can make. Like, you're making everyone look bad, which is just objectively true. I don't know how they even thought that would be like a feasible justification to have. But, they tried, I guess. They made an attempt, and it was probably the worst attempt, one of the worst attempts you've ever seen. That's kind of just like a sad attempt to see. And everything I've seen about this is just absolutely negative. I've not seen a single good thing surrounding this. Someone said transphobic and using AI, insane. It's like absolutely insane. I guess like one of the moderators also like tried to say, or another person tried to justify them not accepting a trans woman. Well, I guess someone said like, I'm on a game changer Valorant team, and if y'all do future tournaments, I'm interested. And then said, thank you so much for reaching out and for your interest in joining future tournaments. For our game changer events, we currently limit participation to players who are biologically female, as the goal is to create a space specifically for women in that category. We really appreciate your understanding, and we'd still love to have you in the community if you'd like to be part of the server. Yeah, we're just completely fucking hating on you and think that you should, not be allowed to participate in the same space as women, even though you're a trans woman and a woman. But, we hope we can, like, hold hands and sing Kumbaya around the campfire at the end of the tournament because, we want to get as much people and as many eyes on as possible so we can, like, keep on squeezing you for your money and your attention or something like that. And saying how they're, like, saying, oh, no, we don't like you, but we want you to stay around. And we want to be a loving community with you. What the fuck is their mentality surrounding this? I don't know what is in their brain, what's firing off in these tournament organizers' brains to be like, this is the correct way to go about this. This is what's going to get a lot of people on our side, I think. And then someone in the comments of the original post also just like was yelling at them for making AI, and they had a really funny way of going about addressing the AI situation. Says, surely there's a graphic designer slash artist who would have loved to contribute to this project for a small or even no commission. And they said, let us know in the DMs and we will contact him slash her. Could use they there, but it's whatever. For our next tournament. My point was that you should have looked for your artist yourself for these graphics, or just use Canva slash any free and easy graphic design tool, anything but AI. Thank you for sharing your opinion. We will work on that for our next tournament. And then, this person said, we'd love to see the change. And then also followed up on why aren't trans people allowed to play? And then I guess, this person got banned for asking if trans players were allowed to play, which, spectacular PR management by the female players tournament. Good job. You're really making people want to stay on your side, At least you got the woke point of having the Twitter logo instead of the X logo if you want a single brownie point in this entire scenario. Someone made a good point here. It's like this would have been probably an objectively better thing to do for the tournament. I think a lot of people would have been happier if you had this right here instead of, once again, the AI generated image. Because honestly, I think this would have drawn more attention. It's like, you know what? This is a really funny logo. This is a really funny idea surrounding it. And it would be probably, honestly, better at drawing a lot more attention, or at least positive attention, than using, once again, this shitty little AI graphic that you made. But we've learned many a times they aren't the best and brightest thinkers as the TOs in this entire tournament. And then finally, once again, using Clove in your graphic and then being transphobic in the big 2026, you can't be for real. This is like one of the greatest ironies too, but obviously I don't even think they understood or really thought about what was going on their graphic because, they used AI. So I think they just typed in the fucking Grok or some shit that, make us a sports graphic for a girls only Valorant tournament with the prize being 5,000 VP, which I'm assuming is Valorant points. Don't really remember, haven't played the game in a while. And then I looked at the quote tweets and everything is just negative. Not a single good thing is going on here. Everyone is just hating on this. Not a single bit of positive press for this tournament in any capacity. But yeah, I thought this was really funny to see. Obviously not the transphobia part. That's kind of just well, you suck, you're terrible, and the AI usage part as well. But the fact that they were just so unaware and so bad at trying to argue for their point in any capacity, it's just you have to just look in the mirror to be you know what, fuck, we messed up here, we done goofed. And the entire idea is oh, we're trying to get into we're trying to allow people who aren't adequately represented in the esports space to have a space to speak, or a space to play the game. And then they left out an underrepresented minority of women who are also really not shown the most good faith and goodwill in the esports community. Very interesting how the girls tournament for girls only is leaving out girls. Weird, isn't it? Interesting. That's really what I want to talk about. This is just something that's something I just looked at. I'm huh, wow. It really makes you just ponder the moment. You look into your orb that we all have on our desk and just ponder it for a second and be wow, I must think about this. How does this happen? You try to do the mental brain thing and think about how the events in your life led you to interacting with this specific post right here, and how millions of consecutive events had to occur for you to interact with this. And you think, wow, I love being alive today, where I get to see some of the most irrational human beings to ever exist on the planet. That's what I want to talk about. Support trans people, men, women, non-binary. Support them. Give them a high five. Shake their hand. Say, I support you. That's it. That's all I got to say for today. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.